Needs a boot. Needs a boot. The med bed. Volk. No, that's Savakovich. Here's Volk right here. This is Volk. Good dogs. Good dogs. Good dogs. Yes, you are. Oh, get out of that wire, you clown. I have a hot wire here, but I haven't turned it on because I dropped the fence to cut these trees. This needs a boot right here. Needs a boot. That means a dog with no name. Needs a boot. That's Sasha. She's the mom of all these ruffians. They all have birth defects. They all have major issues. That's why I've not tried to find a place for them. The dog that's taking a pee is Nemedved. The dog that's sniffing where the dog just took a pee, that is Savakovich, and he's taking a pee at the same place. He has major birth defects. He's going lame. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to last. He's only, in December, he'll start year 4, I think. He's not very old. Sasha was 5 or 6 years old when she came to live here. She was all eat up with parasites. The med needs a vote here. But Sasha was all eat up with parasites. Spent about $400 to get her healthy. They're down there drinking on a gravity feed water system that I got installed because they're going through water too fast. White dog. He's the medved drinks the water, and what he doesn't drink he digs out of the bowl, so I'm filling it like 25 times a day. Here he is again. Big white dog. Big white dog. There were 2 white dogs born. He survived. The other one was born dead. That would have given me 7 puppies, all with major birth defects and problems to hang on to. But what the Lord God didn't give me in puppies, He gave me in rescue dogs. They're called the Muse, and the Muse is Muse +1, with Daisy being +1. You want some leaves? You want some leaves, little man? Come on, you want some leaves? Come on. Come on. Come on. Good dog. Good dog. Oh, good dogs. But let's get back and let's talk about what we have going on over here. As you look at this log right here, which was on this stump here, has fallen down right next to my T-post, but it didn't hit it. So we're good. It did roll the wire a little bit. That's not a big deal. We'll be dragging this out. This tree right here rolled out, and it came off of this tree right here where it connected, and you can see you can see some dead branches up there ready to fall. That's a widowmaker. I'm going to have to be careful of that until I get these all cleared out and everything taken care of. But we are ready to start pulling this out. We're going to cut all of that in just a few minutes and move it off somewhere, and then we will be hooking the tractor onto this. We'll be pulling this out. We're going to cut these 18.6 inches or 18 feet 6 inches in length. The reason for that is to make some beams I need. Let's look at the top of this. Now this sawdust up here, see the sawdust? That's a byproduct of actually cutting the tree. But if you look up here in the tree, it's got some dark stuff and some light stuff. This dark is not an indicator of, what's the word I'm after? The wood not being sound. It's just a color, it's just color. So ignore that. And as you can see, when the tree came down, it was pretty much cut all the way through. And the little bit of material that broke, which is right in here in this crack, this material went ahead and went down with the tree. But it's solid. So I know I've got some wood that I can use out of it. This right here, similar. You can see the distinct tree rings. Now some of this is shrunk because I cut this yesterday and it's dried a little bit more. But you can also see where the fibers separated. Right here. You can see where the fibers separated when I cut it. If you saw my video on tree meat, I indicate M-E-A-T, tree meat, as in like what you eat. I indicated that I cut across this way right here. Let me get back. I indicated that I cut across this way. You can see that's all nice and clean. And then I started cutting in here, which would cause the tree to fall to the left-hand side. Now, I told you a moment ago when the tree started to fall, the rope went slack. I pulled as much tension into it as fast as I could as it fell. And granted, I was lucky. It took a while to come all the way down, or I would have hit my fence post. And in which case, Mama Sasha, Nemedved, good dog, and others would be currently walking around out here wanting to know where the good victuals were. Sasha, Sasha, come here, come here, come. Come here, come here, come here. She knows what that electric wire is. So does he, but he's less worried about it. It came real close to going wrong for me. I'm not going to lie to you about that. Here you can see the termites inside the tree. Look at that. Billions of them just eating this tree to pieces. You know, if you were in a country where people were starving, this would be a fantastic menu. Just thinking about what all you could eat. Yummy, yummy. I'm here with the Polar Gang. And today we're going to be talking about removing stumps. Not these stumps, or chumps. These little guys are my pups. Savakovich, Volk, Nemedved, Nizavut. Hey, where's Fern dog? Sasha. What happened to Fern? Oh well, she's around here. What we're talking about is Spectracide stump remover. It's granules. This stuff absorbs water as soon as you cut the top, so you're going to have to shake it up pretty hard to break it up. It says it accelerates decomposition and it's easy to pour. Won't hurt surrounding vegetation. I have been using this for probably close to 15-20 years. I used to be able to go down to a chemical store and buy this stuff in a 50-pound bag for I think $12. But after the Oklahoma building got blown up, they restricted everything, including this stuff, which is absolutely harmless. You can get the same effect by buying a 33 to 3600 fertilizer and putting it down inside the tree. This just has some stuff that really helps advance the bacteria and fungus moving into the wood. The nitrogen fills it up, and the nitrogen feeds the bacteria, and then, the nitrogen, the 33 to 3600 fertilizer, fills the wood with nitrogen. And then the fungus moves in and begins to eat this up, and then the bugs move in behind it. This just works a little faster. Nothing wrong with the nitrogen. I've used it successfully many, many times. But if I can get this, I'm going to go with this product right here. And let's see, this is a 1 pound bottle. I don't remember what I paid. But what you do, and I paused the process to show you, you drill yourself a hole in here like I've done, and I'm going down about 4 inches into this stump. And then you fill it up with the stump remover. And as you can see, it's just a little white powder. And in this case right here, you see the divot. I put some sawdust on top of it because I'm getting ready to put water on it. And you want it to soak in. You want this stuff to go into the wood fibers so that it will begin the rotting of the wood. I'll continue to drill holes. Now, the recommendation is to drill a 1-inch hole about every 4 or 5 inches all the way around this. I'm just going with smaller holes. There's a couple of things you can do to accelerate the speed of the rot. One is to cover this with sawdust and put a bottle of water up here, which drips very, very slowly and keeps this very wet. That will help. The other thing you can do is you can actually wrap this in plastic, except for those things right there, which would rip the plastic off. You could wrap this in plastic, and the only reason I'm not cutting it down further is because I don't want to deal with this big chunk of wood. It's just easier to let it rot where it's at and go back into compost here in the forest. As you can see, I did a considerable amount of clearing of brush just to get these trees down because of all the stuff that was grown up into it. And I like having my forest, I really do. So I don't want to remove anything that I don't have to. And I'm concerned I may have to remove these trees right here in the next little while, which I'm hoping I don't have to do. The pine trees are really taking a beating in this drought. And you can see termites there. But what I'll do is I will drill this out. I'll keep this wet. I'll water this a couple of times a week. I'll be drilling this one right here, and I'll be drilling this one right here. And this one is pretty well rotted. It's got some lighter pine in it, and lighter pine doesn't want to decay. So this will be kind of an interesting experiment to see how it goes. I'll show you an oak tree that I did this with, and then I'll come back and I'll finish drilling these holes out and filling them up. But you see, you just drill a hole, keep getting the sawdust out of it, fill it up, and then just put some water in, let it soak in, and in about, probably take about six to 7 weeks, maybe 8, for that to completely soak into the wood, and then nature will take its course. So let's go look at the oak trees. This stump is approximately 30 inches in diameter. I put this stuff into it about a year ago, year and a half, at least a year. As you can see, it's very rotted out. There's not much to it. I know it's difficult to see with all this vegetation growing on it, but you can see these massive cracks where the thing is just coming apart. The top wood, the top layer that stays dry, tends not to rot, but the material underneath it that stays wet just falls apart. You could take any kind of like a claw hammer or a crowbar, and you just start breaking this stuff out. Let's look at the tree trunk. This is the tree trunk where I put the stuff into the top up here and it accelerated down. It's causing all that stuff to decay. Now there's some spots in here where it's going to look as though it hasn't done anything, like where that branch is sticking up, but that whole thing is completely rotted. It wouldn't take any kind of effort whatsoever to break it out. Now this tree trunk is almost 40 inches across and about 30 wide, or 40 by 30 if you drew lines across it. And you can see how much of this is decayed away and how fast it's going. This trunk was, well, both of these trees were green, but they were breaking and they were causing problems with the power line. The power company had been out here multiple times to put the wire back up. And finally, after multiple trips, they said, hey, can we just take these trees down? I'm like, I've been asking for that. And so we got these trees down, and our power stayed on since then. Sort of, kind of, but not exactly. You can see down at the bottom that the armadillos are digging in because the grubs and things like that are in there and they're going to be looking for them. But this stump remover works really well. Remember, keep it covered, keep it wet, and it will really accelerate. Right up here, I haven't played with this in a while. You can see how this stuff just rots apart. I mean, it's just humus. Anyway, I want to put a plug in for the stuff. If you have a stump, this is the easiest way to get rid of it. Drill the holes, put the stuff in. The more you use, the faster it will accelerate. Keep it covered, keep it wet. And covered can be nothing more than grass so the dogs don't play with it. In all my years of cutting trees, I made my living doing that. In all my years of cutting trees, I had one client who actually followed instructions. And he called me about 4 months later, said he wanted the stump ground just to get rid of it. I went out there and kicked it, and the thing just came apart in my, by kicking it just came apart. And he asked what he owed me, and I said nothing, because you're the only one that's ever done what they were supposed to. Anyway, with that said, Dysfunctional Vet out.